Yeah, I suppose. Look, we've taken 7 out of 9. I said after the cup semi-final, our form probably dipped a bit. Maybe it's the fact that we got to the cup final and we'd been out there running in the league, and maybe some of the guys had switched off. Certainly our performances weren't as good or weren't as intense as I would have hoped. But I think in the last 3 matches, a win away to Pats, a win away to Bows, and obviously the 2-2 game to Dundalk. So it's been a strong finish, and that's what we've needed. And the games have been very intense, and the tempo has been very high, and that's what we need.
Under 2 injuries from the Bows match, can you just give us an update on Daly and Liam Miller?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's start of the week they're all being assessed. Certainly, I would hope by the end of the week that they'd all be in contention. They've both had strains, but I don't think it'll be serious enough to keep them out. But we're just monitoring day by day, really. John Cavan is the only guy that's obviously is definitely out. Yeah.
And Miller's a calves, right?
Yeah. He has had it for quite a while. As I said, obviously he came back from Australia, and he's played right through the seasons. So he's been a bit like Alan Bennett in the sense that they've nearly been playing non-stop for over a year and a half. So and I suppose at their age they just haven't had a break. So he's had a bit of a strain on and off, but generally he recovers quite quick. So I'd be expecting by the end of the week everyone will be okay.
Do you think that you're getting closer to Dundalk, John? Didn't win a game last season, 2 draws this season, and scored 2 goals after being 2 down in the league game the last night. It's a winner-take-all match on Sunday, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Look, it's a great occasion, fantastic for our fans, and probably showing how far we've come in a short period of time. And to be fair, they've won. Obviously the 2 leagues. Yeah, I think the last 2 games we've played them have been tight, been close. Obviously our consistency in the last third of the season hasn't been as good, but at the same time, while they're an excellent team, we're not too bad either, and we've shown in the performance that we're close.
There's a feeling in the game as well. Doubles aren't easy to get your hands on. History would show that. Cork in 2005, I suppose the example nearest to home.
Yeah, well, I'd prefer to be in that position. So I don't know. It's I don't really think it comes down to that. It's really, I suppose, a scenario where it's a massive occasion for us, and we know we have to go and play our best and put on a fantastic performance, and if we do that, I believe we'll win. And but obviously, if we don't play well, you've no chance. So I suppose it's a scenario. Teams have won doubles before, so and teams have lost doubles. So I suppose from my point of view, it's just that we have to concentrate on ourselves and make sure that we can make sure that we leave everything on the pitch on Sunday.
John, it's a big wide open pitch in the Aviva. Does that suit you or Dundalk better, do you think?
To be honest, I think it'll suit both teams. It's a scenario where I think in every match we've played, since we've come in, the games have been, I suppose, high energy, high tempo. If you look at sort of the last night, the 2-2 game, look at the 1-1 game, we were 2 down, came back to 2-2. You look at the previous game in Oriel, we were 1 down, came back to 1-1. Look at the game early in the season down here in front of 7,000 people. They were really high energy, high tempo games. So both teams like to move it quick. Both sides are very good players. So I think to be honest, I think everyone's looking forward to a cracking game, and with the surroundings and the size of the pitch and everything, it should make it that way. So I would think it would help. It would help the game away.
There's going to be a case of who settles first with the surroundings in the Aviva at that point, then.
Yeah, it's hard, very hard to. The most important thing, it is a different type of game than your normal game during the season, because there's so much hype to it. It's the big day out. It's in the Aviva, and it's a test of players, because people react differently. And you've seen occasions like this on the big day where favourites haven't done well, and they've and the underdog has won. So the most important thing for me as the manager is to prepare as diligently as we can and cover all the angles, and just make sure that on the day that the players leave everything on the pitch and they perform to their ability. That's what you need to do, because there, in occasions like this, you can have situations where players play beneath themselves or below themselves, and certainly from my point of view, we don't want that. So so it is important, and I suppose particularly down here, there's so much coverage, and that you want to keep players focused, that they don't lose the run of themselves or lose their train of thought, because you have to be 100% focused on Sunday, or you have no chance.
A lot of experience in the team. People have been there before: Dan, Benno, Liam Carney, and of course Ross Gainer brings great experience. More recent with Sligo.
Yeah, and even from my own point of view, and I've been in a few cup finals myself as a player. Sometimes, you imagine the more experience you have is good, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're better off with younger players, maybe like Kevin O'Connor and these guys coming through, who have never seen the occasion, Mark O'Sullivan, who may just tear into the game. So it's one of those. We have certainly a lot of experience, which means that guys are used to the occasion. But I suppose on days like this, you can never get used to enough of these occasions. So you would hope that would count in some regard. But from my point of view, I've seen it that sometimes you have players who are young coming through, never played in these games before, and they turn into man of the match performances. So I suppose the blend in our team overall is quite decent.
Morale obviously very high in the camp this weekend. There'll be I suppose an added tempo will there to training.
Well, I can't speak highly enough of the players, and since they come in, you look at we're trying to build, we're trying to bring the club forward. I think it's obvious from where we've come from to know that in my opinion the club is in the right direction. We're in cup finals, we're in European football, we're at the top trying to compete. So it's up to me to keep driving the club forward and forward. So in any scenario, when you're dealing with personnel, and you're dealing with 24, 25 people, you always come across different issues, different problems, and you have to manage them and whatever. But when you get into a cup final week, everyone is buzzing, and certainly everyone is looking forward to the big day. And it's as I keep saying, it's really the day for the fans, for the supporters. What is the club? The club is for us. It's owned by the sport is for the people around the city and county, and even wider. So it's their day out, and it's up to us to make sure that at least when we get up there that we can perform. So so there's no issue with morale, and everyone is really looking forward to it. And but look, if you're not looking forward to going to the Viva, we might as well all go back home.
John, how would you describe the collective squad attitude towards Dundalk, though, in your relationship with them over the last 2 seasons?
I suppose it's a situation where that maybe I think if we look at the bigger picture, last year probably maybe people felt that we came from nowhere. I suppose thank God for the league and for the media and everyone that we did, because we're the only club that's been really putting up to them, to be fair. But I think it's a scenario where the lads are disappointed, obviously, that our league form dropped off, because we were in a good position, in mid-August, and it didn't happen. But at the same time, this is a different opportunity, different day, different type of occasion, and I think the feeling with them is that, and I suppose the fact that probably I'm on their case and on their back, and that we had, it wasn't good enough what happened in the last third of the season, that we dropped, points that we shouldn't have dropped, in my opinion. I think they're feeling now that it's it's the occasion where we need to perform, and they're all looking forward to it. And as I keep saying, what's in the past is in the past. The most important thing is next Sunday, and to see can we bring our top performance to the Aviva, and that's what we need to do.
The Aviva factor, 3 of their cup finals there had high scoring affairs. I think 3 of them went to extra time. There was only one cagey game where it's kind of scoreless draw. How big a factor is that?
Well, I think if you look at the games between us, the games are tight. Do I expect it to be 4-3 or something like that? I wouldn't think so.
That seems to have been the trend in some of the cup finals, are very open, expansive games.
Yeah, and I think the game will be open, but I think it'll be expansive. But I don't think there'll be 6 or 7 goals. Maybe, you never know in a cup final, but I just don't think so. I suppose if you look at it, they've had 17 clean sheets in the league. We've had 17 clean sheets in the league. Defensively, in the last 2 years, we've been very close. But at the same time, there has been goals in all our matches. So I would think that, if you look at it, the average has been the 4 goals. The last day was probably 2 each. Was as many as there has been. But I expect there'll be a couple of goals. But being 5-4 or 4-3, I'm unsure about that.
Given the tight nature of the games between you already this season, though, the fact that 3 of the cup finals then went to extra time, is that a new factor into your preparation? The extra time scenario?
Well, obviously you have to look at it because it's finished on the day. You know what I mean? And there's a possibility it could be extra time, possibly it could be penalties. So you obviously you have to look at all those scenarios. And because if you look at the games, the last 2 have been draws. Okay, the previous game was 2-1 down here. We had a massive opportunity last minute to equalise. It could have been a draw as well. So the games are tight that way. So you look at this scenario where you prepare for obviously to win the match, but at the same time, you look at obviously you discuss and look at if it gets to extra time, penalties. You have to look at those options. Well, of course, because they are strong possibilities.
Momentum, John, going into a final obviously is very important, and a strong finish will help that. Confidence with that. Your cup run has been very good as well. 10-4, is it 1 against?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it is. I suppose the most important thing is with momentum is what momentum and what quality of performance we've had. And I think when you look at it, like in our last 3 matches, we played 3 of the top 5. And the games have been huge for us because we've had to box off second position. You have a scenario where Pats had an opportunity to get into third when we played them. Obviously, Dundalk came down with a full team that night, wanted to win, and obviously Bohs had an opportunity to get into Europe on Friday night, which meant that the 3 games were really competitive games, and plus the fact we had been poor for 2 or 3 weeks previous. So from that point of view, there were 3 high intensity games, and I think it was important. And you're right, it gave us a bit of momentum, and it's important, and hopefully can continue to Sunday, because you can train all you want, but you need games of that quality. And I think if you look at Friday night's game against Bohemians, like they had a lot of free kicks, a lot of corners, with a lot of defending to do, and they're a big strong side. So but we got a clean sheet, which was good for us. And so you're hoping that it'll all lead to a good performance on Sunday.
Any time a cup final comes up, John, people bring up stats and history and a whole lot. It's a chance for Cork City to be the first Cork League of Ireland club to win it 3 times. So another added incentive, I suppose. Well,
it's just for me, it's I know people love to write about those things. For me, it's I've been seeing the history of the club since '84. I played in 2 cup finals, didn't win, and then we won a cup final that we weren't supposed to win. When Shelbourne were odds-on favourites. So it's a situation. The way I view it is that, it's really a massive occasion for our supporters to get out there. Obviously, we've won 2 cups in our history, which is shows that it's difficult. We find it difficult because obviously with budgets are never as big as other clubs. Our travelling is phenomenal, so our costs are much higher. So but at the same time, we have an opportunity, and it's obviously they're favourites. Everyone expects them to win the double, but as I keep saying, we're not a bad side, and if we play well, I think we're going to win the match.
Are you practicing penalties this week, John?
I suppose to answer your question, Rory, you're always looking at these options, and it would be naive not to practice. Even though, to be fair, it's not it's unreal really, because it's easy. I can score penalties when at training, but it's different in front of 40,000 people, So but look, you do a certain amount of it, because obviously you'd know if it went to that. Who are the first, who your penalty takers, depending on who's on the pitch, obviously. But, you'd always have probably 7 or 8 fellas lined up that, so, you do a little bit of preparation. Penalties is a funny one, I feel, because, it's, at training, you get fellas to be putting them every top corner, be brilliant, but, as we saw on the big occasion, sleep a different,
John, how is it important to have a strong referee on Sunday?
Yeah, and I really, since I've come into the league, Dave has been probably the top referee, and he seems to be very strong and lets the game go, and he seems to know the players. So yeah, I think it could be important because you don't like controversial decisions. You know, you like to go out and both teams have a go, and you don't like, you know, people falling around the place and diving and getting decisions, and so you don't want it to be controversial. You want it to be a proper match. You know, so so having a strong and a good referee helps. You know, so so hopefully, you know, we'll be talking about the match on Sunday, which I expect we will. You know.
John, how are you feeling the squad ahead of the week that's in it?
Excited, I think, Rory. Like, I mean, it's going to be a fantastic week. Like, it's where we want to be. Like, we have a chance of some silverware on Sunday, which is brilliant. So it's just about keeping the heads down this week now and working hard, getting everyone fit and being raring to go on Sunday.
Yeah, I imagine you are all raring to go. Is it kind of hard to contain it in training, just keep it for Sunday?
I suppose it is. It's just about keeping as relaxed as possible, you know, and getting everyone just where they're ready to perform on Sunday, and practicing a few things this week. I suppose looking at, you know, things we can improve on and stuff, and getting all that done, and then, like I say, really looking forward to Sunday.
Dundalk, obviously, a side you know quite well. What's the key to beating them on Sunday, do you think?
That's a good question. I hope we can find it on Sunday. I think the key really is to focus on ourselves, though. You know, we know that if we perform well, we're more than a match for anyone. And if we go out on Sunday now and do that from 1 to 11, then I don't see any reason why we can't win the game.
Where would you say Dundalk's main strengths, set pieces and stuff like that are?
It's very hard to say, really, Noel. I mean, they're a good side, they're a good team, and if you don't play well, they can cause you a lot of problems from a lot of different areas. So, as I say, it's not really. You know, there's certain things we can look at for them, but a lot of it is down to ourselves and our own performance. And if we can look after that, then, you know, we'll be all right on Sunday. Well, I mean, the games that we've played against them have always been very, very tight, going all the way back. And at Turner's Cross 2 weeks ago, I mean, you know, I suppose after the first 25 minutes, we showed a lot of character to come back into the game first and foremost, and a lot of quality, and probably could have gone on to win the game in the end. You know, we had a couple of chances, but it just shows that we're more than a match for them on our day. And like I say, on Sunday, I don't see any reason why we can't lift that cup.
What about your own role? You know, saying the honour to before kick-off as captain. What do you do? Do you kind of go around the dressing room and board with each one individually, or?
I suppose we'll try and keep it as normal as we can, and what we do every other week. You know, it's another game of football at the end of the day. Obviously, there's a big prize at the end of it, but it's another game of football, and we have a lot of leaders in the dressing room anyway. I mean, there's fellas that have been there and done it, and for the younger lads that haven't been in a game like this, it's great to have them there, that experience to lean on, and I'm sure they'll play a big role on Sunday. Yeah, well, I mean, there's a couple of knocks, but like I say, it's just about getting everyone fit and ready this week, and I think we'll have pretty much a full complement to choose from at the weekend. So a few headaches and stuff for John, but that's just the way he wants it, I'm sure.
And it's just unfortunate for someone like Stephen Beattie, who's been a revelation since he came here.
That's it, sure. Look, exactly. He's had a great couple of months since he came down. You know, he's a great lad and great to have around the squad and stuff, and I'm sure it's hard for him to watch the cup games. You know, when he's not involved, because, as you say, he's done really, really well. But he'll be there and he'll be egging us on, no question about it. Like, so, it's great to have him around the place.
You have a lot of family coming down from Donegal.
I'd say there'll be half a busload coming down from Balbafay. All right, yeah. So it's going to be good to have them all there too, and it's an occasion that you dream of, like, you know. So hopefully we can go and perform on the day and lift that cup.
What would it actually mean to you to win the cup, given, remember last year in the league decider, last day of the season, and the heartbreak of that, to actually go and win the cup this time against the same opposition?
Yeah, well, I suppose we know what it feels like to miss out on that final hurdle or whatever. So, as I say, we just need to keep the heads down now and focus and make sure that on Sunday we put in the performance that means we can lift that cup, you know.
There's a huge crowd heading up from Cork on Sunday. How big a role do the fans have to play in all this on Sunday?
They're massive. Like, I would say, we're the best supported club in the country, no question about it. The fans are incredible, and since I've been down here, it's been, you know, a privilege to play at Turner's Cross, and I'm sure on Sunday, with all the fans travelling up on the train and the cars and people that are in Dublin already, it's going to be a brilliant occasion. You know, they can be our 12th man, I suppose. As cliched as it is, they definitely can be and drive us on.